Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Dungeons & Dragons animated series, Bobby and Uni. This figure has been a long time coming, my friends. Let's get into it! Let's start our quest with a look at the packaging. And here we go at the top 40, because we've been waiting 40 years for these figures, Dungeons & Dragons. And in the background from the animation from when the show comes on, the thrill ride, dark ride, roller coaster, whatever it is. This is the Dungeons & Dragons ride that has a portal in it that takes our young heroes to the land of Dungeons & Dragons. And then here's nice artwork of Bobby and Uni. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that don't belong there. Assortment number 4 and up. Hasbro print, plastic, free packaging. What? I couldn't believe that. And here on the, I guess, I don't know, it's not really a blister, is it? I don't know what to call it. The cardboard outcropping. Anyway, in the background you see the portal and the rails where they're going off the rails. And then nice digital renders of Bobby and Uni. Comes with a 12-sided die. Bobby and Uni on this side. Bobby the Barbarian and his sidekick Uni the Unicorn are always ready for battle. The forces of evil. I'm reading it exactly as it is written. So anyway, parents, scan this. PlayDND.com. On the bottom, don't stick things in any language pie hole that don't belong there. Don't give it to the babies. Nice artwork on this side of Bobby and Uni. Then on the back, Dungeons & Dragons, Bobby and Uni. Comes with a 12-sided die and his magic club. Nice digital renders of Bobby and Uni. The cross sale of Hank and Diana. And figure to scale, each sold separately. Attention, don't stick things in your French pie hole. Small, fine, legalese print, made in Vietnam and China print. Symbols I'm not going to learn. A barcode. Recycle this stuff. Some more small print. This stuff is recycled. Hasbro print, plastic, free packaging, and the symbols I'm not going to learn. And that, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figures and the accessory, or the figure and accessories, because Uni's kind of an accessory. But here goes his die, and it is, again, you know, it's the same colors as the rest of the figures. So that's a nice touch. They all match. I do appreciate that, at least. And I think the dice are a nice touch to be included with the figures. And here is Bobby's club. And it does have a nice wood look to it. And it looks like a club to smash holes in the ground with. And then here we have Uni. And I have to say, this Uni is a bit off-white. And I always remember Uni being more of a bright white in the cartoon. And as far as likenesses to the cartoon go, I think this one is probably the best one of the entire line. Avenger's a close second, but I think Uni really captures the look of the character from the cartoon. She has 360 degrees of rotation at the head. She can look down that far. She can look straight ahead. she's got, oh, look at that. She got a little bit of chicken neck. And a little bit of waggle. And just look at those eyes. Wow. Very nice piece. And again, I think that's the closest to the animation of the entire line. Here we have Bobby. And he's got this overlay here, and it's got some nice little silver paint apps on it. And it looks like the hair's a separate piece, and then the helmet's a separate piece glued onto the hair, and then it's all glued onto the head. And as far as this face sculpt goes, you know, I hold with what I've said about the rest of the line, and I think it's just the transition from the 2D art to the 3D object that gives it not quite the look of the, you know, how you might think of these characters. But also, you know, this is the first figures I ever remember. I don't remember any action figures. I think there might have been some PVC figures of these characters, but for the no action figures. LJN had the D&D license, but not the license to do these guys, as far as I know. And the little horns on his helmet look cool. And then it does have some nice, I don't know if it's paint apps or tampos or inkjet for the face. And then the overlay here is supposed to sit over this piece a little bit too, and it doesn't like to do that. It likes to ride up. So there is that. It's got a nice little bracers here. This looks like an overlay, and then for the most part this is all molded in, you know, flesh tones. Let's take a look at his articulation. He doesn't look up much because of his hair. He can look down that far. He's doesn't really have any chicken neck, maybe a little bit. A little bit of waggle. He can do the full exorcist. At the shoulder, he can raise his arm up that high. 360 degrees of rotation. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow. Swivels around 360 degrees and gives you, we'll call that 90 degrees worth of bend. 360 degrees of rotation at the ankle on in and out hinge, and the other side is an up and down hinge. At the waist, 360 degrees of rotation, and it's on a ball joint, so he does get some hula there, and he can lean left and he can lean right and he can lean back that far and forward that far. I think where these overlays don't quite lay on top of each other, it kind of hinders the articulation a bit. And his furry drawers do have some splits on the side here. So at the hips, let's see, he can give you that much of the splits. He can kick forward that far and backwards maybe about a half a step. Nothing in the thigh. Double hinged pinless knee, and it gives you that much bend, and it's, you know, this first wave, that's about average. Cut at the top of the shin, a boot cut if you will. Spins around 360 degrees. At the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and forward facing pin for rocker. Now of course Bobby cannot hold his die, and he holds the club pretty good, but not the best in the world. So there we go. A look at the figures, or the figure. Meh. And he doesn't want to stand up. Look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the entire line of Dungeons & Dragons classics with Dungeon Master, Bobby the Barbarian, Uni the Unicorn, Diana the Acrobat, Sheila the Thief, Hank the Ranger, Eric the Cavalier, and Presto the Magician, with their main villain, Venger. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Dungeons & Dragons classic Bobby the Barbarian with Uni the Unicorn, with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee from the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Dungeons & Dragons classics, Bobby the Barbarian and Uni the Unicorn, I have to say Uni is probably a high point in this line. I think the sculpt really captures the animation, the character. And again, I think it's probably the closest looking to the animation. Now I feel like the off-white color of it is not quite right. I believe she should be a brighter white. But, you know, that's just me. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Bobby is okay. His articulation works okay, except in the head. The hair kind of gets in the way of that. But, you know, any line where you have a figure with long hair kind of to run into that kind of stuff. I do like the fact in this line that each figure comes with a die, so that you have a set of matching dice by the time you finish the collection. And this line is done, and it honestly, it hurts my feelings. You know, it just makes me sad as I'm watching this figure spin around. That, not that the line is dead, but that it was just not taken care of like it should have been. It feels like the engineering was not thought out properly. And I'm talking about line wide, not this specific figure. Just some of the choices made for it seem not logical at all. Like the thin pegs that they use in the necks. It's just, again, it feels like this was a cheap cash grab preying upon our nostalgia. And I hate to say that about any line, but that's really just the way that this one feels. And I really hate that, because I wanted to love this line so much, because we waited 40 years for these characters to get action figures. And it's just very disappointing that Hasbro didn't care enough to do these figures proper justice. And Hasbro will probably never do these characters again. I think Super 7 has the license now and they're doing them, but theirs are going to be $55 a pop. And I've been hearing a lot of things about quality issues with Super 7, so I'm not taking a $55 gamble on figures that just don't scale with my other stuff anyway. Except for maybe, well, they might scale with my NECA Dungeons & Dragons, which I think is a much, much, much better line than Hasbro's Dungeons and Dragons. Even though Warduke is the only one I have, I do want to get some other ones, and you know, $35 is a lot better than $55, even though it's not going to be the classic characters from the show. Although Warduke did show up. But this figure itself, it's maybe not as bad as some of the others. And, you know, Uni is the bright point in the entire line, I think. And, you know, I'm glad I didn't pay full price for any of the figures in this line. Because, you know, I'm glad I have the entire set, but I just wish the figures had been done right. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you're interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content, or just help the channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.